Hello again, everyone. It's Nick Michalak and the magnificent Steve Frazier.
Thank you.
And
it's Halloween.
It's Halloween. It must be Saw.
That's right.
It must be Saw. And Saw 2, guys, unrated. Get your copy synced up to the timestamp of 0. Subtitles turned on. We'll get you going with a countdown and move in. So in 3, 2, 1, play. Now, it seems to be the general consensus. This is supposed to be one of the better films in the franchise, yes?
Well, I mean, aside from the first one, I feel like is always...
In terms of sequels.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is regarded as one of the better ones. Okay. Sure. I think the first 3 are appreciated as a really good trilogy.
Okay.
And...
So I have things to say.
Oh, well, all right.
In time.
Don't threaten me with a good time. So, we had $1 million movie turn into $100 million profit on the first one. So, how quickly can we get another one out?
This franchise would be called 52 Weeks Later.
Yes.
That 1 week, I think it makes all the difference.
Oh, yeah.
So the 51 that we usually get, 52, like 52.
Yeah.
Push it 1 more week.
That's right. Well, because it was basically Halloween every year. This is the first of the Darren Bousman trilogy, I guess, because he did 2, 3, and 4.
I believe so, yes.
Which makes complete sense when you finish part 4.
Okay.
You're gonna note you'll say, "Oh yeah, I definitely understand." That's a cool little death mask, right? There's something about the eyeball and the whole like key is under the eye thing that just gives me the willies. Oh, Channel 3. That's the one you always had to set to get the VCR to work.
Yes.
Although it's never really...
We never see any VCRs, damn it. Not yet.
We don't ever really see how the pull tab like triggers the TV in the video.
Right.
Like, I don't know how that works. Like, that is something that's never explained that I've always wondered. There's plenty of shit in this series that's never explained.
By the 10th film, they'll go back and retcon and show you exactly how all of them happened.
Right.
In a nice montage.
Right. He'll be taking a video class in college about how to edit film. And
it's a hired Horace Pinker.
There you go.
Or just keep this going somehow. He knows. He's got a whole shop full of them.
Ah. Well, no shit.
No shit. I think he already knows that.
Good line.
Right.
Live or die, make your choice is...
Nice, succinct, quotable line.
Yep, and it really kind of becomes the tagline for his character. All of his traps are famous for some sort of line pulling that like pulls the pin on a clock.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I can't do the eye. I can't do the eye. I can't poke the eye. I can't look at the eye. I can't touch the eye. This is bad. This one gives me the willies. Not a lot does in these movies. I can watch people butcher each other all day long. Something about having to cut yourself gets me. Something about having to cut your eye.
Right.
Nope. I mean, I guess it's under his eye.
You can feel your own anxiety tensing up on it.
I'm tense right now. My asshole is puckered. You can't see that, but...
I can't see that, no.
That's correct.
Just be clear.
Right. I'm not nude.
Oh, Erik.
He chose die. Again, here we have that opening. Boom. Yeah. We're in it. We know what kind of movie we're in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here's my neighbor. Which I say half jokingly because
shacked up with the other neighbor we
I
announced in the Scream 3 commentary.
He's not actually my neighbor, but he lives, I don't know, 7 to 10 minutes down the road from me.
He's in the community.
Yeah. I mean, it is the next town, but whatever.
He just built a Wahlbergers and not far from there.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's actually a really great Wahlburgers. I don't know if anybody is familiar with the Wahlburgers chain that he, his brother Mark, and his brother Paul own together. But this one's like the home store. I mean, he's got like his personal American Music Awards there.
Okay.
His gold records are there.
Mm-hmm.
An ode to Jenny McCarthy, that stupid bitch.
Yeah.
Sorry, I digress. This kid was in something else, and I can't remember what it is.
We got time.
All right, you look it up.
Early. Hope I don't miss any plot points. Erik Knudsen or something.
So, I jokingly call him my neighbor, but he does live down the road from me, and
he was in Scream 4.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
He was the one who teamed up with Kiernan.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Culkin there, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I knew that he was in something else that we had covered, but I couldn't remember what.
Yeah.
Here's another like sleazy room. Like nobody's in a good room ever.
That's a nice little transition bit.
Yep. And there's Detective Carrie again from...
She has a very Michelle Pfeiffer look in this.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
She's got that Batman Returns curl going on, that wave. I like it.
Yeah, it's sexy.
But even a year later, it's like I didn't pick up that was the same character.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't pick up the name of the character in the first one, so...
They didn't give her a name until this one, so...
Well, that doesn't help the matter.
Right, yeah. Well, again, they weren't planning on a franchise of movies.
But I tried to give most of my characters names in the script.
Is it me, or does Wahlberg's clothes look like they're two sizes too big?
He's like Emerson.
He's frumpy.
He's
almost.
Just like Emerson.
He's sloppy. It's gross.
It's like a tailor.
And you'd think that they would immediately know who this is, right? Because, well, I guess she does, because she was on the case. So, do you have issue...
We'll get there.
Okay, so it's nothing from the setup point of view.
Nothing. I did feel like the film started things a little too fast. I felt like we kind of missed like maybe a 10, 15 minute prologue to the film for these characters to kind of set them up a little bit better.
Well, I think the scene with him and his kid, I thought that was pretty good.
Just the fact that he has some history with this character and he knows all about Jigsaw, it felt like there's just an ease into who he is and a setup of things. Because again, I didn't recognize her character for the first film, and obviously they didn't take as much forethought to establish her as a character to give her a name. So I was just a basic thing. I felt like there wasn't as much set up into...
I don't know if you need to know that she was in the first one.
Oh no, I'm just I just felt like the film kind of jumped into it. It's like, okay, I feel like I've missed a piece of something. I just felt like,
so
okay,
you're
we're
saying
kind of jumped into like the middle of like the first act. I felt like I missed half of the first act.
We talk about that frequently, about how you start off,
right.
you know, like not necessarily at the beginning of the scene. You want the scene to already be going.
Right.
But you're saying that you felt like it started too deep into the story.
Right.
This does feel like a 20-minute in scene.
It just felt like, okay, it feels like there's already way more progression into his interweaving into Jigsaw knowing stuff about him and stuff like that. It feels like there's, unlike the first film where you dropped into a very weird situation where no one really understands what's going on, this is a situation where all the characters know basically what's happening. We're not in the same situation they're in. They're already ahead of the story from where we are, and it just feels like, it just felt like, okay, I just feel, you know, dial it back 10 minutes from where the story began. This feels like it happens. This feels like a scene that happens 20, 25 minutes into the movie to me.
Or right by the end, almost.
Right.
You know, the revelation that he knows. I mean, I guess if the point of this was to set up a raid on Jigsaw's warehouse and to have him like in custody, so to speak, you know, they had to come up with some fast way to get that knowledge.
Right.
Although him having a dream or not dream, but like laying in bed and putting
being
the pieces,
haunted by ideas,
putting the pieces together, you know.
Yeah.
You know, pre-dream state, I feel like, is a little eh.
Yeah.
He's just sitting there, casual. I love it.
It's kind of weird with this Blu-ray transfer here. There's a lot of shots that look like they're upscaled from a DVD to me. I don't know. It's weird. Like this shot's really
grainy and gross.
Really soft. It looks like a DVD now, but then when you cut the other shots, they're not.
I mean, I'd almost argue it looks VHS.
Yeah. It's weird because when I watched this before, I just watched my copy off of streaming for random reasons. It didn't look like that. As I've said in some channel update videos, Lionsgate doesn't seem to really
care about
put a lot of goddamn effort into these movies.
It's back catalog.
Yeah, really lazy. Even the transfer on the first one looked really rough in some places. It really needs a remaster. Which apparently someone said when they did the 10th anniversary theatrical re-release, they did remaster it, but they never put it out on disc. So.
Then why bother?
I don't know. I don't know what the company's up to.
I mean, oh Jesus Christ. I mean, the booby trap is great. The electrocution cage is great. I mean, logically, to me, it makes sense that the man of the traps would booby trap his own entrance.
Yeah. Especially after the previous film where two cops showed up unexpectedly.
Good point. I never thought of that.
Right.
Oh, man.
But
right in the shins that hurts.
Of course, now think about, okay, well, that whole incident happened. Obviously, Glover got back to medical aid after that thing. They probably would have gone into the place to get the body of his partner. It's just weird that, okay, Jigsaw's still set up here and they haven't raided it months before.
Well, yeah, you're right.
Or Jigsaw would still be sitting here after he's already been exposed by the police as being located here, that's very strange. Because as we see later on in the film, it's still the same place.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought of that. When Singh bites it with the shotguns, clearly
police and everything like that would come there and at least retrieve his body and at least investigate things. It'd be swarming with cops. So it's very much an oversight.
That's such a Wahlberg thing. The hay. I do like... I don't know. I like the payoff to the game that he plays with Matthews.
Sure.
I
do have certain issues with a lot of the path of how they get there in terms of the characterizations.
Good move. I mean. Cool as a cucumber, this guy. I mean, a hell of a setup he's got in there, right? All this audio, video equipment. Who knows what any of it does? And, I mean, I kind of like the fact that we took the escape room idea and we blew it up to escape house.
Okay.
I think that's an interesting... or, multiple room.
Yeah. Okay.
But you don't like that? You don't like the location?
It's not about the location. It's the fact that when we get to these characters, they're very two-dimensional.
Sure.
Which means I don't care about them throughout the entire film.
All right. See, knowing what we know now, he says I haven't looked at the monitor in a while, but I would guess because it already happened.
Right,
oh God, it's so good. I don't necessarily care for the poison gas thing.
Yeah, it just seems like, okay, it seems very transparent that they're probably not.
Although, I mean, it seems that everyone had symptoms throughout.
Yeah.
So...
Well, knowing how, at least from what we've already seen from the character, that you're expecting some misdirection and stuff that doesn't end up being exactly what you think it is. It seems like it just seems too easy of a pitfall for the characters to deal with. It's like in the first film, saying the whole thing about the poison or whatnot. It's like, okay, as you said, it's not poison that would kill Adam's character. It's poison because it's chemotherapy that he's been dealing with.
Right.
So everything is very much a play on words and double entendre type of stuff.
Which, again, I like wordplay. I like puzzles. This guy's my hero. And now we have, 8 people wake up in a room. It's brilliant. Well, not brilliant, but it's fun, I think.
Okay.
I mean, I think that there's enough... I think there's enough character development to at least give them personality. I don't know if I would say that I care about them, But
that's my main thing. Like we say in a lot of horror films, if you don't really care much about the characters when they get in peril, it really doesn't make a difference to you because you're not invested in who they are.
Yeah, but I feel like knowing them having a personality and not all being the same is enough. Maybe there's that fine line between knowing who they are and actually caring about them.
And well, some of these characters I find to end up have very stupid reactions to a lot of things in the film.
Right.
And
which could be counter character.
Well, just the fact that there's a few too many of them that just don't seem, when you compare it to the characters we had in the first film, which had a lot of intelligence to them and a certain deductive way of a lot of the things, how they dealt with a situation, deconstructed things, and tried to work around the puzzles. Everyone just feels very, in this situation, a lot of them just feel very stunted.
And, here we have the reveal of Amanda now playing her second game. Which, I gotta admit, when I was watching this for the first time, I was like, I don't know, I was kind of drawn into that. It was like, oh.
Well, me watching this 2 days later, I didn't even recognize her because she looks completely different from the first film, so I didn't even know who it was until she actually says who she is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was fairly obvious, but
no, she just looks completely different. Her hair is completely different. I don't know.
I like that she reached around her head. I thought that was a nice little touch. I will say, how would you know to go there? And that question is posed by another person. Yeah. I like that when they press the play on the little mini tape recorder, it's always clear audio to the viewer as opposed to what it would be to the characters.
Yeah.
Because they want us to hear it.
Sure.
But, I don't know. I used to have one of those mini tape recorders.
Yeah.
They never sounded this good.
They're not terribly good quality.
They never sounded this good.
No.
I like the idea that they're hidden around the house. And I feel like the numbers are in the back of your mind is very obvious. I guess because I like puzzles, that I would have thought, okay, everybody look at the back of their head. Which I feel like even watching it the first time, I thought of that, and I was pissed that the characters didn't think of that.
Oh.
But I also can't decide if I love or hate, and it's one of the two, and I don't know. The over the rainbow clue never comes back into play.
Okay.
Like,
I didn't pick up on that.
It's given here as the order of operations can be found over the rainbow.
Okay.
But
yeah.
It never gets to the point where they need that piece.
Yeah.
And there's never... That's a great kill, by the way. There's never a... And maybe we can look for it here. And I thought I was looking for it when I watched this, a few weeks ago. I don't ever remember there being, like, a rainbow in the house somewhere to, like, to be a clue to look,
There's no one named Dorothy in the movie.
Right. I mean, sometimes it's a literal clue, and sometimes it's figurative.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, okay, let's say they all discovered the numbers.
Right.
The next step is the order.
Mm-hmm.
Where does the rainbow thing come into play? And I never found it.
I don't know, unless there's like a brand name on the safe that says Rainbow. I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah. So yeah, until that moment, I didn't realize it was the same character because, I mean, changing the hairstyle does a lot to kind of just throw me off.
Well, it's also, how long after.
Right, I'm just saying it just didn't register with me because I didn't recognize her.
And by how long after could really be any quantity of time because...
Right, I don't think they really...
Because her game happened months prior to the events of 1.
And kind of the thing I felt with a lot of these scenes with the cops, where we were talking so much in the first film, it felt like almost a David Fincher type of thing, very much Seven influence. This felt more like I'm watching like an episode of Criminal Minds or something. It feels more like a primetime procedural instead of a cutting
cinematic experience.
Right. It just felt a little too pedestrian to me.
I can understand that.
I mean,
and there's that feeling I think gets worse as the series goes. Because I think you're onto something with that.
I mean, the Detective Matthews character, he just feels like your standard cop you find in these regular procedurals. He's not written with a lot of like psychological depth. Really, kind of like he wants to kind of a lot more like Glover's character in the first film, where he's kind of he's very involved with sort of the psychology stuff like that. He's trying to break down the clues in a very forensic and psychological. You just stuff like that or whatnot. When you have stuff like a Manhunter or Seven or Silence of the Lambs, where it's a lot more psychologically based, you're trying to get into the head of the killer in the film. This feels a lot more surface level as we go along.
I would agree with that. I also would like to say, as far as Wahlberg's character goes, that I don't know if I'd call it a reveal, but the character development that they come up with for him is that he's A, a hothead, B, a dirty cop.
Okay.
You know what I mean? He plants evidence. I feel like none of that is present here. And so when you explain it later...
There's only one character who brings up accusing him of planting evidence. But I think it's the Amanda character who says that.
Maybe.
I think, it's a lot later in the film when it happens.
But I mean, I thought that he used any means necessary to get convictions for all of these people.
Okay.
It was
that didn't feel like they pressed that very hard in the course of this movie.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, I predicted like 30 minutes before the reveal happened that he was he was involved in convicting all these people and arresting them. Getting them put away. I didn't really connect it that he fabricated evidence and... Well,
I think they said it, that
I did not pick up on that aside from when Amanda says that, because she says that because of her drug conviction.
Okay.
That she was guilty of something, but not what she was actually convicted of.
And we'll see, I guess, as the movie goes along, if I'm remembering it correctly.
Sure.
So we're looking for rainbows, and we're looking for some sort of... Corruption. But... At least that's how I remember it. Okay. And I feel like they don't set it up as a corrupt cop here. It's only after they tell you that he's corrupt that they start showing you those slight behaviors.
If we had, like I was saying, maybe if we had that extra, like maybe 10 or 15 minutes to kind of set up his character a little bit more, maybe would have had a little bit of...
It could have been
a little bit of texture put in there to kind of just have a sense of something else.
It could have been a couple lines of dialogue.
Something, yeah.
Like, even when Carrie
Someone saying, hey, internal affairs has been kind of sniffing around your stuff.
Or something, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they were at a crime scene together.
Right.
There could have been, he could have made a comment about, I'll do anything to get the guy that did this. Or, something.
Right.
Everyone, they're coughing up blood and stuff. So I never thought that it was like a ruse.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I mean, sorry. Just when Jigsaw says, hey, there's a nerve agent going on, it just feels like it's too straightforward for what we expect from the character. So it's not like that's how it plays out. It just felt like so far he doesn't kind of like straight out and come and tell you exactly what the threat is. He kind of twists it around a little bit. So it just felt like a little too straightforward to be exactly what he says it was. So it's more expectations playing
right.
on what you are perceiving in the film. So
I mean, I do like. I did think when he keys the radio and sets it down, I was like, "Who are you fooling with that? Do you think he didn't notice you doing this?"
I didn't pick it up and put it down here. I thought he was just grabbing it just to this. As I didn't pick it up as he was playing something on the situation until he made the deliberate insert shot there. But yeah.
I mean, I kind of like the pathology here of...
Right, I got no problem with that.
Don't forget the rules is such a clever thing.
Right.
That
you want something out of him, you got to play the way he wants you to play.
Well, keep in mind that the whole point is that his games are winnable.
Yes.
If you follow the rules.
Right.
And, here he's got the, he's kind of goading him and basically, it's interesting that Jigsaw is telling us about Wahlberg's character as opposed to them showing us Wahlberg's character. It's one of those exposition, but not. It's done in an okay way.
I mean, it at least shows that Jigsaw knows more about you than you know about him.
Yeah, I think that's a good trait.
Right.
I like the eye makeup on Tobin Bell too.
Yeah, it's a really nice makeup. Yeah, I mean they make them just a little pasty here and there, but it's very subtle.
There's something about eye makeup that it's either when it's good, it's really good, and when it's bad, it's really bad.
Yeah. But yeah, mainly I could do without this guy in the film. He's just very dumb altogether.
He is dumb, but you also hate him. Like, you wanted him to die, and I don't know if that's the point. Like,
he's here to breed conflict, and that's basically his sole purpose. Because without him, a lot of the other characters would have a little friction here and there, but they wouldn't be at each other's throats and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I do think that naturally they would try to work together.
Yeah.
Group think,
Right.
what have you.
Let's have some personality conflicts, but yeah, the guys, mainly they're just to facilitate a lot of just...
Here's
a lot of random stuff that just feels a little dumb.
Here's a reference to Joliet Prison.
Sure, yeah.
Which is, 20 miles or so from where we sit right now.
Roughly, yeah.
It's one of the more... I think it's a fairly famous prison. It's not a federal prison.
No,
it is a state. It is a state prison, but it's one of the more famous state prisons, I think, in the country.
Right. Old Blues Brothers and everything like that for some cinematic reference.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of... I think they do like a haunted jail thing come Halloween where you can like get locked in there.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's Statesville. Maybe I'm
I'm
mixing them up.
I've been past there many, many times on my way through that area.
I'm mixed up, but Joliet is a fairly famous prison. And it's local.
Yeah.
So maybe this is set somewhere near us. Wouldn't that be fun?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'd want to just go down there. Like, why would everybody go? Is it...
Right.
I don't know. Is this a thing? Like, divide and conquer, or everybody stay together? Who do you trust?
Right.
I mean, it's creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Now, this guy I like. He's a good actor. I just find what he does here in this next couple of minutes very, very engaging.
I do...
He's very subtle in what he does in this whole thing. I like how he plays this scene. He's got an interesting face, too.
I don't care... Well, I don't want to say I don't care for it, but they had him like this cloak of secrecy where his
I
head was
didn't so
down.
much like the whole walking around with the hood and stuff like that. It's too obvious.
Like, they really tried to make it look like he was in on it.
Right.
Or something.
Right. I'm just commenting on the guy's performance, not so much the character. I like...
Right. Oh, no, I agree with you.
The actor's good.
I agree with you. I am...
Right, but we both agree on our different points.
I think that to have him be... I don't know if it's trying to be misdirection, but they're setting it up where he at least was somewhat instrumental in setting this up.
Yeah, compliant.
But then they kill him first.
Right.
And I don't know. I feel like it eliminates that entire...
Yeah.
It's like...
And there's another shot that looks really bad. It's weird transfer.
Oh, that inserts shot?
It's weird. I don't know if this is a case of being the unrated version or something, if they added more shots in from a lower quality source. I don't know. But yeah, have him be killed off in like the next 2 minutes, it just kind of robs it of like having a little bit more... Allow him to stick around and have some more character development.
There's no payoff to the setup of the cloak and dagger.
Right. Have him turn a corner somewhere and have him be a little bit more interesting as the film progresses, because then he's another guy you can try to elicit some other exposition, some other revelations about, something more about. He just becomes more of a cog. You could be more of a cog in the story to just be more interesting. Who approached him? How did he get to him? What's he holding over his head?
Well, don't worry, it's all negated later on. In later films.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. This is a nice bit. I like this bit with the knife. So it makes him interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
that's good stuff.
He's great. And it's the first time that old boy there in the gray shirt has not been the alpha male. Like, the tide has turned.
Yeah, this dude's a little scarier than you are, pal.
And they set it up to be that he's like an arsonist of some kind.
Okay.
I think they said
there's something about that in here. Yeah.
It was in his tape.
Which makes the death here more proper.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. I can't even imagine what it would be like to be burned alive. In a metal
furnace of some sort, yeah.
Right. That is now hot. Right, so all the metal is heating up. He's basically not only burning, but he's grilling at the same time.
Right.
And there's smoke. I do think that they carry the scene on a little longer than...
It gets a little too long, yeah.
I mean, he would be dead quicker than the scene plays out, in my opinion.
Right. And in fact, it takes him a little long to get to figure out, we can try and get him out the other side when he's been pounded on the thing. Yeah. Yeah, you could cut it down a tad bit.
I mean, couldn't you just have the whole thing go up and them not even be able to, like... Why even bother trying getting him out? I don't know. Oh, yeah, you just now saw...
Yeah, like I said, that should have happened about 20 seconds ago, at least.
And, I mean, at this point, he would be completely roasted.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the inside shots that they're showing, the fire's only, like, halfway up.
Right.
And when they break it, now it's like completely engulfed. His clothes aren't even on fire.
No.
It's a weird shot.
We need some Tony Caesar with a full body burn.
That's
here.
right. Tony Caesar, you're not, prick. If Wes Craven had directed this, Caesar would have done it.
Mm.
He's worked on every one of his films, so I've told.
Yeah.
I mean, they do kind of set it up that all he cares about is the antidote and not really anybody else. I guess that's something. And the black guy is kind of the voice of reason and the logical guy. The kid is also kind of naive but smart.
Right. Yeah. He knows well enough that he doesn't have any... He doesn't fit in with any of these people, so he doesn't have any kind of stroke to pull with anyone or anything like that.
See, this is great.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that when they get to the twist at the end,
right,
and they can cut back and say, they told him at 20 minutes, they told him at 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's consistently,
right.
Hey, we said what you had to do.
Right.
And see here, we have the Maybe it is Jigsaw that reveals to us.
Yeah.
That.
So I mean, with it being exposition instead of showing and telling instead of showing, it probably didn't soak into me as much when I was watching it.
But I think that shot looks terrible.
Yeah, these definitely have to be inserts for the unrated version. It's very strange. I was watching my streaming copy. I wasn't this close to the TV, so I don't know.
What I was going to say about exposition is there's a difference between me saying, to you like, oh, don't you remember that you have a sister? Right. And you're like, well, shit. That's, what I mean?
Right.
In order to tell the audience you have a sister.
Right.
That's different than,
right.
Me saying, hey, I know.
Right. I don't have a problem with it as dialogue, just in terms of letting it really kind of, at least from my experience watching it the first time, if you show me something, it has more impact on me to recall it as the film goes on, instead of having these two guys sit down for 5-10 minutes and keep droning on about what they're talking about. Some of it might get a little lost in the shuffle for me.
It does. I agree. It does come back, though, and when you get to the end and you realize that the whole point was that they were just supposed to sit and talk, it makes it a little more acceptable that they're just sitting and talking.
Right.
And you kind of give a redemption to the quote-unquote boring dialogue aspect of it.
Right. Which, again, if they had a visual setup for it at the beginning of the film, like I was mentioning before.
Right. Well, a picture's worth 1,000 words.
If you do that, then you're calling back to that. They at least trigger something off in the audience, like, okay, they've been introduced to that, and they're like, oh, Jigsaw knows about that, instead of he's introducing us to all these concepts as we're going along, instead of like, okay, now instead of it being something that triggers off something that we found out about earlier, and he's revealing that he knows that too, it has a different reaction in my opinion. If you introduce it to the audience early on, then the character of Jigsaw says, hey, I know about this stuff that you've been hiding off somewhere.
The audience says, hey, I know that too. I feel like
that has more of an impact on the audience, that, okay, Wahlberg's character has more of this stuff that he's kind of dirty and secret or whatnot that he kind of shoves under the rug. This guy knows about that stuff. So I just feel like that has a different...
Yeah, it would have been
a different impact on the audience to have that introduced and kind of call back to it and as a revelation, instead of having him tell us everything about his character in these scenes.
He also went on the diatribe about his own life, and this was our very first.
Well, we already, from the end of the first film, we already know about the cancer and his basic motivation for what he does and what happened to him. As it ties into Dr. Gordon, all that type of stuff. We already know about his diagnosis, his cancer, why he's doing things, so we're just getting the long-form explanation of it here as well.
AKA the first addition to the story. Because there are more than one coming. This is the first time that we've expounded on the why.
Right.
With the attempted suicide and the survival.
Mm-hmm.
I wish to God it had just stopped there. But...
as we could say for many different franchises.
The need to explain everything. Well, I take that back. The need to use explanation as a means to progress a story is disheartening.
Add more. Well, like a lot of the Elm Street films, every single film, they went further back in Freddy's backstory to further explain new stories and new hitches in the story they wanted to create that didn't make any sense before.
Which, you're right. I mean, and you know what? They kind of did the same with Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, with
each new screenwriter comes up with some bullshit that the next screenwriter doesn't know what to do with.
Right.
And to the point where it's like, I gotta explain all this stuff regardless.
Each of them used the same logic, just not together.
Right.
It wasn't collective logic, it was...
Right.
But it was the same idea of going backwards to go forwards.
Right.
Great question.
Mm-hmm.
And Amanda's timeline is a little fuzzy.
Mm-hmm.
It gets worse after the next film. Which, it's kind of fun for me sitting here, knowing that you don't know what's coming.
All I watched was a trailer, and that obviously doesn't give you much to go on. But trailer for the third film at least looked a little bit better than this one. Just basically on a cinematography standpoint, because I feel like this film's a lot of just kind of point and shoot.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of interesting angles or compositions they do with the camera. It just feels kind of like everything's kind of like at eye level.
It's definitely not as...
And again, it feels very TV-ish.
It's not as interesting as the first one,
right,
visually.
Right, yeah.
You're right about the TV aspect of it. It's not quite as Late Night USA as Jason X.
Oh, no.
But I definitely feel like it's a TNT primetime drama.
Sure,
I get it. I understand.
Works. Yeah. We one of those things like, oh, we got 8 days to film this. We don't have a whole... I mean, even on the first one, they didn't have a whole ton of prep time to do things, but obviously James Wan is a very talented, very, very talented filmmaker to have a lot of vision to utilize limited resources in very interesting ways.
Of course, us talking about all these things has made me stop looking for rainbows, but I also found it very... I don't know the word, but when they reveal later on about the numbers...
Yeah.
And I'm like, at no point were the numbers actually there during, like...
Well, I'm at least trying to notice a few people here. Okay, there's a couple of characters with long enough hair where you wouldn't see it.
But
this guy here, the black guy...
Like... You would totally see
it. And there was no number on the guy in the basement, the obby guy.
Well, there may have been, but he burned up.
Sure, but yeah, he does go back downstairs to grab him.
Oh, so, you're right.
Okay, yeah,
you're right.
I'm just trying to flash here and there. It's little things.
There's the cable that triggers the clock.
Yeah.
Again, I want a prequel where we learn how to make this shit, because
I want this Jigsaw sitting on like a $5 billion fortune to be able to afford all this stuff.
Yeah, I know. That's one of the things that really gets ridiculous later on. Some of these games and some of these setups are so elaborate. You're like, this really would have taken a week and a half to like just set up this room.
Oh yeah.
This scene, or this room, and the events,
sequence,
really
makes you want to see this guy die in about 5 seconds after it's done.
Yeah, and it also, it's one of those that gives me like the creepies. Like I can't. It's like the key in the eye thing. Like,
yeah.
It's on a similar
close
part.
On that, yeah.
There's not a lot that really gives me, like bugs do it. And the eye gets me. And this, I can literally feel the pinpricks.
I like the fact that they zoom in and show them that they're all very, very grungy.
I mean, what a dick! Oh my god!
Jesus fucking Christ!
I just got a full body chill.
Oh.
So to me, things like this make the movie memorable.
Yeah.
And oh my god, I can't. Like I literally feel everything that she's feeling.
Yeah. Just
she looks like Nikki Sixx.
Christ. Oh.
Like, is there a way to do this gently where you don't actually hurt yourself? Like, is it possible?
Had gloves, maybe. That's
and here, where she just
like a full body attack dog suit or something.
She turns into like Bobby Heenan's weasel suit.
Exactly.
She turns into like the Carrie Elway's rage.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
And I like this kid. I mean.
Yeah, he's all right.
By kid, I mean him. Right. I don't think he's actually a child. Yeah, like you don't know what's in the syringes.
Oh yeah.
Are they empty? Are they just dirty? Are they... You're too late, pal. And I guarantee you he doesn't have a number on the back of his head.
Yeah, if you did, you'd think someone would notice.
Ow! God damn it. Pulling him out?
Yeah. And as it wasn't bad enough with this guy.
I mean, oh God, what an asshole. I just, I feel like if you were going to have that number thing be a thing,
yeah,
they should be there the whole time.
Right. Well, yeah, the black guy, he's got a collar on. I mean, there's little things, but yeah, big muscle dude, yeah, no, it's not doesn't add up for that.
Oh, he does have it.
He does have it, okay. The fact that no one notices.
Well, fuck me. Here I go spending all my time complaining about it, and there it was. I mean, I guess everyone could just... They have been talking about tattoos and whatever, so maybe...
Well, the thing is, they brought up the tattoo on his arm and asked him about Joliet and everything, and I thought that was going to be some kind of clue or something, but...
Well, that was the segue of we've all been in jail.
Sure, yeah.
She looks very familiar, and I don't...
The brunette?
Yeah, and I don't think she's been in anything. She just has that face.
I don't know what the character's name is to figure out who
well, there's another issue, like you were saying. $30 left. Which is about all that's left in the movie, actually. So, I don't know. This isn't a... This isn't in real time. But I think it is fairly... That 30-minute countdown that's about what's left in the movie, so...
Well, yeah. Well, at least the footage that's playing on the monitors should be at least somewhat concurrent with what the timeline of what's happening between the two of them, the progression of time.
And here's where he loses his cool.
Yeah.
And knowing what we know now, you can see Kramer like just nodding and being like, well, yep.
Yeah, whatever. Which one I was watching this, like, okay, it can kind of emphasize the whole kind of like, okay, Wahlberg's character, he's just kind of shallow in that type of way. It's like he doesn't see a bit of the psychology of the guy. He thinks that trashing his stuff is going to make a difference, when obviously the guy's been a lot more intelligent with how he sets up these traps and chooses his victims, all this different type of stuff. It's like there's a lot more going on with this guy than just a couple pieces of paper you're going to rip up in his face. So it's like, it just felt like it just left me wanting something a little bit more interesting with him.
There was the line about him planting the evidence.
Right. Mm-hmm.
He has great eyes. Tobin Bell.
Yeah.
It was last summer, I don't know, 15, 18 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I was trying to see if there was some talk about the evidence or the planting or whatever.
But yeah, I figured all this stuff out about 20 minutes before this reveal happened. So.
Yeah, I think it's fairly obvious.
Yeah.
I would hope it was anyway. Anyway, so I was at a convention and there was a panel. I saw a panel.
Sure.
And many people from many films were there.
Yeah, yeah.
But most notably, Tobin Bell and Shawnee Smith were on
franchise mainstays.
The dais there, and Tobin Bell is he's hilarious.
Okay.
And he's a funny guy. Just
like Lance.
Yes, like Lance Henriksen. Yes, very, yeah. And he's just, that's his voice. So he starts talking.
Right, I was watching the interviews on the documentary on this thing. It's like, okay, it's basically the same guy.
Right, so it's one of those, unlike Robert Englund, who has to kind of go into Freddy voice.
Right, right.
When he talks normally, you can't necessarily tell it's the same guy.
Right.
But when Tobin Bell talks, it's Jigsaw talking.
Right.
And it's scary. So there's a weird juxtaposition to hear this scary Jigsaw tell a joke.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that looks gross.
That's not going to last you very much longer.
I think it's so crazy that the drug dealer guy, instead of writing down the numbers,
tries to remember everything.
Right. Instead, he just goes around cutting people's. Or is it only his own that he cuts?
It's only his own that cuts. It was always like, okay, I don't know. With his character, that he immediately goes to trying to just kill everyone instead of saying, "Hey, I figured out what the situation is. We probably all have these numbers on the back to get this combination. We could solve this in a minute." Instead, he's going to go around and try to kill everyone with no rationale about it. He hasn't been set up in the game where he has to kill anyone. Right. He just has to figure out what the combination is, and he goes about it in the hardest way possible to figure it out.
At least they set it up to where you hate the guy and you want him to die.
It just seems like story contrivance that you have to have some kind of big, gory, slash-up, mash-up type of thing going on. Where there's
as opposed to solving the puzzle.
Something more physical has to happen in the story instead of just okay, the characters kind of figure something out. And have a rational progression of events, so...
And
everyone's coughing up blood and everything. the least rational thing is try to go around and trying to kill everyone to figure out how to get out of this thing. Instead of just bring everyone together and say, "Hey, I figured it out. Let's get out of here."
This could just be he's pissed.
Right, but
that was
the fact that he keeps going after every single person like he's going to murder them.
That was like Vic with the axe handle to the back of the guy in Friday 5. Friday 5. You're really out of line, Vic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, was that worth it? How do you even make a baseball bat with... the nails go through the bat? Is that the idea?
That's the wrong person.
All right. Oh, you haven't made a murder bat before?
No.
I mean, there's a comeback that, you know, or a clue that has returned, but I'm telling you, they never hit the rainbow one.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It said New York in that photo, by the way.
Yeah, so maybe it's Manhattan or something.
So, here's a problem I have. See, she says he set me up too.
Yeah.
Here's the problem I have. I am a very logical and reasonable person.
Sure.
To me, the fact that this man in front of you happens to be the son of a dirty cop does not make him the enemy.
Doesn't make him culpable in anything, yeah.
The fact that you or any of these characters would act out towards the son because of the sins of the father makes the character, her, the shitty person.
Right. And also, it's not going to lead you towards any solution in the situation that you're in now. You just had one of them just keel over and die right in front of you.
So, she's basically saying, you know, fuck you.
Yeah.
I don't want anything to do with you.
Right.
Even though he doesn't have anything to do with his own dad.
No.
Like, I don't know. Like, to me, them being angry at him is completely illogical.
Right. It just... Again, there's just a few... They've got ideas that would work if it was a more developed screenplay, I feel.
Yeah, okay. It's a little rough drafty. I also feel like during the quote-unquote game here, I feel like this color that they've chosen, this kind of yellowy green...
That's the over the rainbow, the colors of the different numbers on the back of their necks. They're all different colors.
Shut up, really?
Yep. Obby's is green, this guy's it's red, and I think another one is like... Whoa. I think the black guy's was yellow.
Maybe blue?
Maybe blue, yeah.
That's tremendous, Nick. You solved the mystery.
And
I can't believe it.
That probably solves what I was thinking in my head. It was, okay, even if you have the numbers, you don't know what order they go in. But if they're in the order of the colors of the rainbow, if there actually is a set one,
sure,
that would tell you the order in which they're supposed to go.
All right, you solved the mystery.
I figured it out.
I never even noticed. I've watched this movie a bunch. I've seen the first one the most. I've seen this one the second most. I can't believe that. Look at that. This is great job. Everyone, great job, everyone.
Figured it out.
Anyway, what I was saying,
something made
before
sense.
Before your epiphany here. In the game, quote unquote, here of the guys in the house, the color, just that weird yellow overtone.
Yeah, the sickly.
It's
a little much.
I feel like that's kind of what makes it feel like a TNT drama.
It feels a little cheap. Yeah, it feels a little kind of... As something I equated to is like, it feels a little bit like direct-to-video Hellraiser sequel in that regard. It's being overly stylish in the lighting where it's not really motivated anywhere. All the scenes in the house could be just like kind of more subdued kind of lighting here and there, or like flickering fixtures, something like that, you know. Almost kind of typical haunted house type of
especially vibe. Because there were several scenes that involved turning the lights on and off.
Right.
And these scenes are very rich in color. Like the reds are vibrant red.
Yeah, this all works because it maintains the color scheme you had in this environment from the first film. And you can definitely feel like, okay, these are probably like fluorescent lights, stuff like that. So it would give off a little...
white glow.
Yeah, it would give off this kind of greenish kind of hue and everything.
But this yellowy...
it's almost like overly lit for such a constructed death house.
Yeah. And this
one just felt very kind of...
I get she's disoriented.
Right.
But at the same time, like, the minute that you put your arm in there and feel that...
Right.
You don't stick your other hand in there.
Right.
Like, you stupid bitch.
Yeah, just...
Like, you use that hand to release the blades on the other one.
Right.
I mean, in concept,
it's a horrifying
cool.
trap, but yeah, just the fact that she just kind of flippantly walks in and just decides to do that without being cognizant of everything in this house being a trap to kill you. Yeah, it's even with the disorientation, it just...
Right, like, oh, this is...
It begs too much.
This one will be easy. I'll just...
Yeah.
Like, she stuck her hand in and was hurting.
Right.
Before she put her hand in the other one.
Right.
It does look like it hurts like a son of a bitch, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That one's blue.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't believe I never knew that. I never put it together. Newfound appreciation for this movie. There's probably people listening to this who've watched this a bunch and are like, God, Steve, you're an idiot. That's alright. Tell me in the comments. And even though Amanda is, revealed to be in on it, I don't think they've done really a bad job either way. Like they've not really.
She's too kind of passive in the entire situation.
I feel like in that you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. If they go and they make her a little too. Let's go over here, guys. Then you're gonna say, "Oh, I called it."
Because we do have a couple of shots like when they're in the basement. She's kind of like lurking on the stairs, kind of observing everything. Okay, that kind of works in retrospect, but like, I don't know. She's too much kind of observing everything going down. So it's like it's
right. They needed,
like you said, not too much one way or another to really figure out how you want to play it.
They needed to have her be a little more involved and a little more nefarious. Like, she's right in the middle.
She almost needs to be a little bit of, like, kind of pushing people in different directions in a certain way. Kind of, if you have a lot of these combative moments and whatnot, you could have her kind of, like, leaning someone towards this way or leaning someone towards the other way. Kind of, like, push and pull them a little bit. Just a little subtle thing here and there.
Well, because she's been... Like, the audience at this point doesn't know that she's in it.
Yeah.
So all we know is that she's played the game before and she's another victim.
Right.
So, to me, I'm saying, why isn't she the leader of the group and why aren't we using her expertise?
Right. Either that or why isn't there more suspicion upon her?
One or the other.
Why are you back in this game again? What have you done since the first time that put you back in this situation?
So I'm slightly confused, and I've done so much like thinking about all of these that I'm now confused again.
Okay.
That they get in the car and they go for a drive, and they're driving around and they're driving around. And I don't know where they end up. Yeah,
I was very confused in a certain way.
Like,
okay, so...
Because I was under the impression...
Okay, so let's deconstruct a little things here. Where we've seen all the stuff happening with Jigsaw and the cops and everything seems like it's the exact same place from the first film.
In theory, yes.
That's what it seems to be. So maybe this clears up a little bit what I said earlier about how Glover's character and Singh and whatnot showed up there and there should have been exposed and everything. So maybe he did move to a different place because they end up here Wahlberg ends up here and after this drive. And this ends up being the same place from the first film.
Right, but I was kind of under the impression that all of that was at the same location as where they started, where the interrogation was. But I guess that's not the case.
No. So, okay. If you commented anything about that, sorry. It takes a little bit to get up on things.
Because this location is the same location as the first film.
Right, because we get the bathroom.
The reveal here of the...
Okay. So again, it's misdirection on the part of the filmmakers to make you think, okay, we're having the character in the same place he was in the first film, but it's a switcheroo on ya.
Yeah, I mean...
Or it's the other way around. Which is neither good nor bad.
I was going to say, I don't know if it really matters, other than it just has to be somewhere different than here.
Right.
But, I guess, logically, it does make sense that in the first film, Jigsaw's warehouse area was not the same location as the escape room.
Yeah.
So, as I like to call it.
Okay.
It was a separate building.
Okay.
So maybe it is the same place.
Yeah.
But either way, I think it's interesting that this is an actual house though.
Yeah. So.
And how is this actual house is connected in some way to the underground, quote unquote,
the place Glover and Emerson were running through at the end of the first film.
Well, yeah, I mean, where
they're rushing towards the end point of the film in the bathroom with Ellis and Wanal.
Yeah, the events of the first film happen underneath this house, essentially. So the entire time that we were watching part one, there's a residence upstairs.
Apparently.
I mean, obviously an unused one, but...
Right, some condemned house, yes.
Because I feel like this corridor, and I didn't really pay attention to this, but I feel like this, they just keep going in circles, and it's like a never-ending...
I wouldn't doubt it.
It's a never-ending, like, turning the same corner.
Right.
Is what it feels like. Like, they just keep going around a corner.
Right,
like, where does this hallway go? I do think that this is a really cool reveal that it's a videotape.
Yeah.
See how they just keep going around these corners?
Right, right.
And I'm like, wait a minute, what? Is it a circle?
How big is this facility?
And now they've opened into, like, that round and round and round spiraled to a dead end here.
Yeah.
And there's old Emmanuelle. And there's Carrie Elwes's foot. And she's doing a good job of acting surprised.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, I can't understand this basement level that wanders around and around. And we know that in... I don't know if it's this one or if it's later ones, that it turns out that this is like... the outside of that first film goes to like a main hallway. Outside of this room. I can't even imagine what it would smell like in there. Just, you know what I mean? Like the original smell of the bathroom.
Yeah, just the rust and
the piss and the shit and the... And then you put...
rotted corpse and everything.
A burnt corpse, apparently.
I don't know how he got burnt. I don't know.
But that's what it looked like, right?
Well, yeah, it looks burnt. I don't know why it'd be burnt. He would have just...
Oh, don't worry. They work on explaining
for fuck's sake.
I wish that I could be here to watch it with you the first time. Why is that
Maybe
window?
we should just do that.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Wouldn't that be some shit? That window behind him, wasn't that the one that was broken before?
It was.
And now he's just going to cut his own neck off? How does he know where to cut? You know what I mean? Like, he cuts off the exact square inch that's got his number on it.
I don't know.
Red, blue, green. Green again.
Yeah.
Give me like an orange or a yellow. Oh, he puts it in his pocket. Sure.
Yeah.
That's what I would do with a piece of my neck. Oh, there you go. And we have this, I know we have the sound down, but there's the musical theme.
Yeah.
That is, if it's not the same, it's very similar to the one from 1.
Yeah.
That was the reveal music.
Yeah, the stuff right at the end when Jigsaw comes up and everything.
And so, even subconsciously, you know that this, like, is a...
This is the climax.
Yeah. Oh, we gotta go around and around and around.
Yeah.
And who is Rig? I forget.
I guess it's the black
yes,
guy here,
yes. Which I actually have just made a revelation for a future film that I can't reveal to you. I can't reveal to you.
Oh, Lord. That's some VCRs.
There you go. State of the art.
How long is this videotape?
Well, they had 2 hours in the house, right?
Who turned on the video cassette? The VCR.
It's not in the same... Okay. Let me think about this for a minute. There's the neck guy. There's nobody ever said what happened to Carrie Elwes, by the way.
His body isn't... Someone didn't trip over his body in the endless hallway?
Right. Maybe he did make it out.
Comes back eventually. You'll have to figure it out.
Well, yeah, but with the amount of backstory and overlapping, it could have been a prequel.
We shall see. Like Wanell in the first one, you're withholding all this information.
Yeah. Well, I got to keep some secrets.
You gotta keep some secrets.
And there's the pig face and the... Okay, so I'm going to think about who pushed play
on the
VCR. Let me think here. Where are they? Where is the videotape? The videotape's in the house. The timer's gone off. It's been not quite 30 minutes in real time.
Sure.
But so it's pretty close though.
Okay.
Great reveal. He's been there. He's been in front of them the entire time. So
is the VCR in the same house that this is beneath?
I think so. I think it was just in a room that they couldn't get to.
Because it seems very weird, because Wahlberg and the police showed up at their respective locations at roughly around the same time. But the police weren't following him to the same location because they didn't show up at the same place, at the same entrance.
You're right. Well, him and Jigsaw went in a back door.
Right.
So it could have been front door, back door situation.
I don't know.
It's plausible.
It's plausible.
And here we have Amanda. Okay, so if they're in two different locations, then Amanda could have pushed the play on the video.
Yes.
Even if it was the same location, I guess she could have done it still.
Well, she has to take the kid, transport him from this location over to where Jigsaw is, put him in the safe, then come all the way back, set up the videotape.
And then wait in the bathtub.
Wait in the bathtub.
I think that works.
It's not far outside the reach or whatnot.
I didn't get that granular with my documenting, but maybe I should have. This is... Okay, so shit like this is exponentially worse for the next 6 films.
Oh, yeah. I figured that.
How do you feel about the cinematic idea of using a montage at the end of previous scenes to add together the reveal?
It worked in Usual Suspects.
Yes, it did.
Parliamentary's there, putting it all together off the billboard, off the bulletin board, and find out that everything that Kent just told him was a complete fabrication.
Right. So we have... I don't know, though. I mean, it's different here.
Right. I mean, it makes sense. Everything that comes together makes sense. I'll say that.
They're not showing you things that we didn't already see or that we hadn't seen before.
Right.
So I respect... I wasn't saying this to be accusatory. I was actually just asking.
Yeah.
The smile really it gets me. I like it. And so now we have Amanda, quote unquote, in on it.
Yes.
And carrying on, sort of. All right. Well, now it really goes off the rails. Keep in mind that Darren Bousman co-wrote this one, and also directed the next 2, which, in their own way, are a trilogy.
Okay.
2, 3, and 4 all work together.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Anyway, so...
And just note, 3 and 4 are also the ones that have specific director's cuts, aside from the theatrical cut and the unrated cut.
Oh, fuck. What I was going to say is this is the first instance, really, of an entire sequence of events, aka the game, taking place in a different time frame than the other events of the story.
Yes.
With misdirection on what's the timeline. This is the first of the next 7 that all try to screw with your head in that way, that make it makes it so convoluted and maybe it's not convoluted. Mm-hmm. It's so intricate that you're so lost, and it's anything becomes plausible going forward because of the little scenes that put you back 2 films or whatever and make you go, oh, that's where that fits in. And then you lose track of what was actually plausible because of the oh yeah factor. Mm-hmm. And the oh yeah factor is completely presented for the stupid audience.
Right.
To go, oh yeah, and then come out and go, I loved it because.
Right. I mean, it was a tad bit here saying, okay, the last scene's going to happen exactly where the first film completely took place, and to elicit that kind of spark in your brain, it's like, oh, cool.
Yeah, and with the same door close.
Yeah. I'm sure it's much more egregious than what you're describing.
It is.
But I had that reaction knowing that you've mentioned these sorts of things before.
Okay.
It's like, I'm not going to get myself that high up off of that sort of endorphin or whatever the heck that is going on in my head.
The oh yeah factor.
Yeah, that.
Or whatever. I will say we talked on the end credits of the previous one about money and how, this
one made even more. This one, they gave about $4 million. Got back about 147 million, so it made more money than the first.
Sure, because of the phenomenon of the and the brilliance of the first one.
That happens a lot.
Sure. It took Freddie until the fourth one to hit the peak financially.
His name's Zoran Cook Nomovsky.
Oh, Cook. Yeah, sure. You gotta. I love a good nickname.
No one can pronounce the rest of your name. We just gotta slap something on there.
Yeah, Cook. Hey, Cook. So, when you get down the line, and so maybe the third one only profited $70 million, and the fourth one profited $40 million, and then you ask yourself, why wouldn't you just keep doing it until they don't make any money? Yeah, it's like, as stupid as it is, and the fact that we all complain about it and hate it and say this was awful, I'm never watching it again. But we do next Halloween for 7 years in a row. The studio totally won because they said, well, sure, we'll just, the first one I gave you $1 and you gave me $10. Yeah. And then on this one I gave you $4 and you gave me $15. And it's like, wait, we're just going to keep playing this game until I don't make any money.
By the looks of these Blu-ray transfers, they keep winning out because we keep buying them and they're not putting any more money into producing quality home video releases.
That's hilarious. Because there were scenes in here that really look shitty. I'm
going to double check the streaming copy of my older Blu-ray on the trilogy pack here to see what's going on here. So, I'll report next time.
All right. I just think it's interesting that they just kept saying, well, you're eating it up. You may not like it, but we're just going to make another one because it's a cash cow. And if I'm the studio, I'm doing the same thing. Like, I don't know. I just think it's so frustrating that it works. The business part of it?
Well, Roger Corman always kind of had this thing like, okay, law of diminishing returns. Well, we put the first one out, we make this much money. And then as the income goes down, we'll also reduce the budget until everything kind of meets in the middle, and then we'll call it off.
Right. And it took them 7 movies before they said, we're done. And they literally called the last one the final chapter. Okay, fine. Then, we know how that turns out historically. Yes. Then, absence makes the heart grow fonder. So they wait 7 or 8 years. Right. And then people go, God, I really love that Saw franchise. Oh, you want another one?
I didn't even wait that long. It was like 2015 or something the next one came out.
Jigsaw came out?
It took like 5 years.
Well, still. That's still 4 years longer than previous installments. Right. And then people went, oh yeah, I like that. Give me another one. Even though 7 is one of the worst movies of all time. Sorry. All right.
Then Chris Rock calls you up saying, "Hey, I'm a big fan. Let me make another one of these
Get
for you."
out of here.
Under a slightly different title.
God damn it.
Uh,
Well,
by the time that probably eventually arrives, you'll probably be through these films, and we'll be ready for a commentary on that.
I'm so excited to hear what you have to say about part 3.
Oh, okay.
Happy Halloween, everyone.
Halloween.
It's got to be Saw.
It's got to be Saw. It's not Chainsaw.
I think well,
We're ready to just get. I'm ready to get tired of a new franchise.
all right, fair.
I'm
fair.
ready to get plenty tired.
We
But
have
anyway,
plenty. We have plenty of other holiday titles coming
yeah,
up.
we'll be doing the first 3, and then we'll break for the holidays from other festive stuff, then swoop back in. Okay, guys. So thanks for listening and enjoying, and we'll be back eventually.
Yeah, sounds good. See you later.
Later.